What's up to all my Dear God Journey followers? Your girl is back with yet another episode of In Depth with Diamond, and I got a treat for y'all today. The interviewee is yours truly, so let's get into it. So the theme on this blog is faith when life blindsides you. Because guess what? As we know, life be lifing, and it's been lifing quite a bit for me recently. Speaking to that, I feel like that's not only me. I feel like that's everyone, because life happens to everyone, but knowing how to maneuver when it happens is super important. So I want to share a testimony with you guys. And not only that, but some pointers or important tips, if you have it, on how I have been getting through the most recent test or trial that the Lord has placed upon me. It's been very interesting so far. We are now in the month of February, but January was a doozy. I was just like, okay, God, like this how we coming in for 2023, I got you. Most recently, that has affected my own personal household. As you guys know, my husband, Melvin, he is a truck driver, and we have been married now. It'll be 4 years in the next few weeks. Shout out to us. So recently, about a couple of weeks ago, he had an accident when he was at work, and thank the Lord, he is okay. We have had previous accidents with him being as a truck driver, and they have not always been the best. He had a really bad work injury a few years ago with delivering some heavy machinery equipment. So I'm grateful in this case that this accident was nothing like what it could have been, because it could have been worse than what it actually was. So he called and told me about it and everything. And then that next following day, he thought he was just going to work to do the incident report or the accident report. And they pretty much ended his job. That was a complete shock. I was just like, God, no, like this is just not the time. But God's time is not our time. That's facts. I actually got the information on my way to work that Thursday. So you can imagine I have to do what I have to do throughout my day, just feeling like my life is kind of flipped upside down for a moment. And at the same time, being there for my spouse. Like, I had to make sure that he was also in great spirits as well. So I'm not gonna lie, y'all. The faith is not always on 100. Okay, this faith walk is a daily basis. It takes you putting into your whole total 100%. Is not there every day. So when I got the news, rightfully so, my faith was a little bit shaken. That weekend we went into a worship night that one of my cousins had. It was a beautiful worship night. And at the end of that night, I can't even explain the amount of peace that I had. I was just so unbothered in the situation. I just felt this sense of security, like you're gonna be fine. And that was just the reality. So I went with it. God being God, it's like, y'all, the reality is my husband wasn't out of work for a week. He lost his job that Thursday. Friday rolled in. He had 2 interviews. He had another interview Monday. He had another interview Tuesday. And on Wednesday, he got hired. So listen, it's just the way God works. And I only believe that he moved that fast because in a second or so, our faith got back to the point where it was like, okay, this is God. Like, I ain't about to worry about this. Because the reality is, not only do we serve in our ministry, but we serve faithfully. And it's not even just so about our ministry, but we serve kingdom. We serve the kingdom faithfully. I am on 10 when it comes to God. And not even that, but even when it comes to our offering, our tithes, those sacrifices, like we serve faithfully. So I just had to check myself on who I was serving and who that I serve. He already said, Hebrews 13:5, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. And then again in Philippians, he said that he would supply all of our needs. So when I honed in on those scriptures, I was like, I'm straight. And so that's the reality. So I wanted to share how you can keep the faith when life blindsides you. One of the points that I want to make is pulling on past experiences, or you could say past testimonies, past trials, tribulations that the Lord has brought you out of. One that was really big for us back in 2018, I was referencing you guys about a really bad truck accident that my husband got into. With that truck accident, I mean, he fell 20 feet off his truck. He had shattered his left wrist, broke some bones in his arm, bruised his back. I mean, homie was like toe up. So you guys, at this moment, my wedding is 5 months away. So the fact of the matter was, I mean, money was in places, and it was at to the point where we probably wasn't going to get some of it back with just everything that had happened. And I was just like, God, like, this is something. And the wedding honestly was the last thing on my mind because I wanted to cancel it. But my husband did not want to cancel it, but I was more so concerned about our finances and honestly about his health. It was just like so many different aspects. And I'm like, okay, in 2018, not only did God keep our minds, but he paid all our bills. I mean, I was never late on anything. And then he took us all the way through this wedding and we didn't have any debt. That's the way I wanted it. But even with that wrench thrown in the road, God still pulled it off. So I had to pull on that. And the reality was, in this situation, it was giving very like, okay, sis, like, pick yourself up. It's not as bad as what you think it is. When I thought about that, I was like, this compared to that, yeah, this is nowhere near that. So if I was serving the same God in 2018 and 2019, the same God is here in 2023. And so pulling on those past experiences are big. The next thing that I do want to focus on is support. In a nutshell, sis, you can't do life alone. That's just it. It pays to have a supportive community around you, whatever it looks like. And I said community because some people may think about support as far as just family. I don't know, like when I think of support, because I'm so family oriented, that's what it looks like for me. It could be in different ways. It could be friends. It could be a mentor. It could be, you know, a coworker. It could be a pastor, but you cannot do life alone. Okay. This life is not structured for you to do it alone. So it pays to really have a support system. And my last point, and I can say for me personally, it was the biggest point for me in this. Have your moment, but don't stay in your moment. You know, be down, but get back up. You just can't stay there. Life happens to every and each person, and we're human, y'all. Things will affect you, but do not stay in that moment. I can honestly say I felt like in this blindsided moment in life, I was telling my husband, I said the biggest thing that I felt like I was fighting with was my mental. It's because 1 second I would be great, and then like a couple hours later, it was like the situation would come back in my mind like, oh my God, like he does have a job right now. And I'm just like, okay, back into this little moment, right? And then I would have to pick myself back up out the moment, get myself back out the moment. And it was just repetitive over the 2 days that I was in that place. You cannot stay there in that mess. It's a dark place. And that's the trick of the enemy. The enemy wants you to stay in that place. He wants you to stay bound. He wants you to feel like God can't do anything, like he's not listening, like he doesn't hear you, like he's not always planning a way for your escape. He wants to make you do those things, and don't give him that power. Come out of the place. Don't have the moment. And that's what it is. A moment is temporary. That's the key word about a moment. It's a temporary situation. The moment is temporary. So don't live in the temporary. It's going to keep evolving. It's going to keep changing. And so don't allow yourself to stay in that place. You got to pick yourself up. You got to move on. Thank y'all for watching. I hope this uplifted someone. This journey, it started out with me, but God let me know later on throughout this process that it actually had nothing to do with me. It's always been about what I can do for others, what I can do to serve others, and ultimately bring a soul to Christ. That is the most important part. That's my prayer for this, that you guys hold on to that faith. Don't stay in those moments. Get that strong relationship with God. get yourself a strong community, whatever that looks like for you. You can fight this battle when life tries to blindside you. Don't allow your faith to be wavered. Yeah, it may be stumbled a little bit, it may be bruised for a few seconds, but don't ever let it waver. Don't ever let it faint. So I really pray that it uplifts you. I pray that it speaks to your faith. I hope it encourages you to get to know the God that I'm talking about, okay? The one that will have you out here employed in less than a week. Like, can we say amen? Because what? But get to know him for sure. So I thank y'all for rocking with me, staying with me. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my blog. All of my contact information as well as my social media is down here below. And remember, the journey only starts with just those 2 words. Dear God. Love y'all.
Self-care is a really, really big one. Whatever self-care is to you, as long as it's not anything that's not detrimental to you. So, you're not going to do crack if that makes you feel good, or drugs or substance abuse.
Please, people, do not do crack.
You're not going to do that. But things that are conducive to your health,
right,
that are not causing a detriment at the same time.
Exactly. When we're thinking about, someone that, is dealing with their mental health, how can they get in contact with someone like you or in this particular field or those plethora of resources that we talked about?
So the day and age we live in right now, the thing is internet. So you can always, of course, yes, you can always Google. You would want to Google like psychiatrists near me or mental health resources